In a time where hope and encouragement is needed more than ever, I called upon one of my friends to help bring exactly that today. Barbaar Rainey, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks, Sammy. It's really a treat to be here with you.
With
Even though we're not together, it feels like we are. And I'm grateful like you are for this technology to be able to see faces and hear from people. And we wouldn't otherwise. So it's great to
no,
be with you.
well, it's so good to be with you. For those of you that don't know Barbara, I mean, you are a co-founder of Crew, a family life with your husband. Goodness, how long have you and Dennis been married? Since
47.
1972? 47 years.
Yeah, crazy.
Mother of six, grandmother of
24.
24.
I know. I just go, how did that happen?
I knew I was going to miss one if I didn't ask. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I lean upon you for wisdom. I've leaned upon you for wisdom longer than you've ever known me. But now I'm
Thank
grateful
you.
to be able to have this conversation with you. And, you have a book that just came out called My Heart Ever His, Prayers for Women. And the thing that before I talk about the book, I just want to say you have so much wisdom. You're so free with your experience and sharing that. But I know you don't write because of some need to feed your ego. You really write because you feel a calling. Can you tell me what was a specific calling that made you write this book now?
Well, that one's really easy to describe
Okay.
because when Dennis and I handed over the reins, is the way we call it, to David and Meg Robbins
Right.
2.5 years ago, we entered into a season of great unknowns, and we knew there were going to be adjustments. We knew it wasn't going to be a piece of cake, so to speak, but it was much harder than we ever expected.
Mm.
And it had nothing to do with David and Meg, nothing to do with family life.
Okay.
It just was the reality of not being a part of that world anymore.
Mm.
And family life had been our identity for so long, and the people we founded it, we led it, we loved those people, they loved us. It was like family. And so, in a sense, it was like moving far, far away, even though it was still in town. And there was a lot more loss associated with that decision than we anticipated. And so during that 2 years, or year and a half or so, I began writing. Well, first of all, I was reading through the Psalms every day, one, two, three, four, and sometimes five Psalms a day, because I just was so starved for God's word in my heart, because I need it. And of course, the Psalms speak to our hearts like few other places do. And so I worked my way through the book of Psalms 3 or 4 times in that time frame. And as a result, I started writing my own feelings, my own experiences, my own cries to God on paper. And it helped me put words to what was going on inside. I did not write it for it to become a book. I wrote it for me. I wrote it for communication with God as my Father. But as they kept coming and as I kept writing more and more of them, one day I said, I wonder. And I sent a few off to the publisher of my book, Letters to My Daughters, and he said, well, yeah, I like these. Let's do a book. And I went, oh, well, okay.
Well, and I'm so glad I was literally just going to bring up, it reminds me so much of Letters to My Daughters, just in this need to pass on, right? It's not, you're not saying this is the answer, I know everything. It's just, I've lived through this and I want to share. And it's so personal. You're so vulnerable in this. And I think, what I found as I've read through these prayers is that I'm able to relate both to you
Good,
and to God. I'm able to insert my own heart's cry.
good,
And
good.
so it's almost just, it's been such a beautiful conduit. I think it will impress people, and I'm not impressed, but just lay on their heart impress that if you
Uh-huh.
don't have the words, if you can't find the words, this provides a guide, but it just ushers me into being able to put voice to my own words that maybe I can't right now. And if you could just touch in the time that we have left in this last minute, how do you guide people now when there's so much pain, so much uncertainty, so much unknown? How do you guide people in expressing their voice, especially to God when there's hurt?
Well, I think the best way to do that is to read the Psalms, honestly, because David says what we are feeling. He says, God, where are you? Have you abandoned me? Why aren't you hearing my prayer? Why aren't you answering me? I mean, he says flat out, I don't hear you. You're not with me. Where are you? And I think a lot of the world feels like that right now. Where is God? What is he doing? What is he
Yeah.
up to? Why is all of this happening? And it feels a lot of times like God is silent, and we don't know what to do with that. And I think the Psalms provide a great vehicle for helping us express those emotions because we all feel them. We're afraid to say it oftentimes, but we all feel that way about God. And then the Psalms will continue to guide us to coming to Him and listening to Him.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara. The book is My Heart Ever His, Prayers for Women. You can find Barbara at everthynehome.com. We'll link to this at thesammycohenshow.com. Thank you for joining me, Barbara.
Thank you, Sammy.
Before I go, I need you to know this too shall pass. As I reflect on the uniqueness of this time in history, I couldn't help but think that there really isn't anything new under the sun. I'm finding a lot to be grateful for right now. While my heart weeps for the thousands who are sick or have passed on, and I worry about the economic impact both for my family and our world, I'm still profoundly grateful. You see, my father was born during the Great Depression and fought in World War II. And in fact, my mother lived in England during World War II as well. Those times were very different than what we were experiencing now. For example, there's no bomb threats or food shortages like they had to experience. But what we do have is connection and community. Even though we can't physically be together with everyone we love, we can connect via the internet and phone. Most of us have multiple ways to read books, consume media, and even exercise our own creative outlets. Perhaps what I'm appreciating the most is the opportunity to press pause. Because everything feels like it's been turned upside down, expectations are low, time frames have been tossed out the window, and practices of the past have found new meaning. So while there is a lot that remains unknown, there is so much we can be grateful for today. I want to thank each of my guests who were so generous with their time and brave enough to step outside their comfort zone to join us today. But most of all, I want to thank you for being a part of this community and encouraging me each and every day. Have a great day, make sure you make it great, and do not wait to tell someone you love how you feel about them. Bye, friends.